All right, 3.5b. We're going to talk about the second video here, using the point slope formula when we're given 2 points. So here's again the idea. The grand idea is that if we're given 2 points, then we have to create a name for a line that describes the line going through those 2 points. So how do we do that? Well, we've got to use the point slope formula, but we've got to modify it. We've got to take one step before using that point slope formula. So let's go through what we've got here. So if we're given 2 points, so here's the information that we're given. We are given 2 points. If we're given 2 points, then we can use the points to calculate the slope. That's the intermediate step that I mentioned. We've got to calculate the slope using those 2 points. Remember, what's our slope formula? Slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, that's something that we've got to just memorize. So it's got to be on the cheat sheet, on the study guide, and you'll just have to remember that. So there's our slope. Slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Hopefully I've said it enough that you've memorized it. But if nothing else, you got to memorize it. So if we take a step back and say, now if we're given 2 points, we have to use the point slope formula, but we can't use the point slope formula before we calculate the slope. So that's our first intermediate step. And then after we calculate the slope, then we'll have a slope and a point, or we'll have a point and a slope, and we can use the point slope formula. So let's go through what that looks like. All right. So here we're given point -2.5 and 4, -1. And we've got those two, maybe they're data points in our graph of income versus age, something like that. And we've got to kind of come up with an idea about what all the points on that line that connects these 2 points together is going to be. And the name would be y equals mx plus b. So in order to get there, we've got to go through the point slope formula. So our first step is use these points to calculate a slope, and then use the point slope formula. All right, so here's my x1, y1. Here's my x2, y2. And we'll calculate our slope. Slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's equal to y2 is -1. Now we just plug in numbers. Minus y1, 5. Over x2 is 4, minus x1 is -2. Keep in mind there's a negative sign there. So this now, so the important thing is probably that 4 minus a -2, because we're subtracting the value up here, we're subtracting -2. All right, so now we just simplify. -1 minus -5, -6, over 4 minus a -2 is 4 plus 2 is 6, and that's equal to +1, or sorry, -1. Negative divided by positive is negative. All right, so there's our slope. And now we've got a point and a slope. And to describe the line that goes through these 2 points, so that we can kind of generalize about all the points, we have to come up with a line. So how do we do that? We use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Memorize that just like you've memorized the slope formula. So there's our point slope formula. And now we can use this point here and say, you know what, there's my x1, y1, and then there's my slope as well, and we just plug in those numbers here. Slope is -1. All right, y minus, what's my y1? 5. Equals slope -1 times x minus, what's my x1 value? x1 value is -2, so we've got to have subtract a -2. Put that in parentheses so you know that you're subtracting that value, subtracting -2. All right, so now we just simplify. Y minus 5 equals -1 times x minus a -2 is x plus 2. And now we can distribute that -1. Y minus 5 still stays the same. Equals -1 times x, -x. -1 times the positive 2, the next term is a negative. Negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 2 is 2. And now we're almost there, and all we have to do is add 5 to the left side and add 5 to the right side. And what we get is y equals negative x. Minus 2 plus 5 is plus 3, and there's our answer. Y equals negative x plus 3 describes all the points that go through these 2 points. So there's a line that connects these 2 points. What's that line? There it is. How did we get there? Number one, we had to calculate the slope. That's kind of that first intermediate step. And after that, we use the point slope formula right here. All right. So that said, I'm going to ask you to go through the same idea here. Here's our steps. Steps are right here. And I'm going to ask you to go through those steps with these over here. Bring that to class and show me what the line is that connects these 2 points. Step number 1, calculate the slope. Slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then use that slope inside of our formula, y minus y1, the point slope formula, equals m times x minus x1. Plug in some numbers just like over here and get some y equals some value over here. Bring that to class and I want to see it.